Have you heard of the expression, desperate people do desperate things, right? If you are, really desperate for money, you could think of robbing a bank, right? If you're really poor and you're really hungry, you would, in the Philippines, I've seen this, like poor people there, they would go to the garbage and then get those leftover food that people just throw away. And then they would clean it up and then cook it and then eat it. If you have like a child who has a terminal illness, maybe you will be so desperate that you will go maybe to a foreign country because there's no cure in your country. Go to another country and have treatment for your child. Desperate people do desperate things. The question is, do we apply that into our spiritual life? Are we desperate enough to do desperate things for us to grow in our intimacy with the Lord, to grow in holiness, to grow in love, and to do the mission that Jesus called us to do? And the saints, they were desperate. That's why they were able to do desperate things, right? And because of that, they've grown in their holiness. And this is what the Lord is telling us in our gospel today. It says there, if your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than for your whole body to go into hell. Of course, this is not literal, right? If you cut off your right hand, you could still use your left hand to sin. If you take out your right eye, you could still sin with your left eye. So this is not literal. But the Lord is calling us to be desperate, that we're willing to do desperate things that is really very hard for us. And a good example of that, when Jesus said this, he preceded this by saying about committing lust, which is adultery. He says, but I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. There's so much lust going on right now in media, in how people would wear their clothes, right? And it's just so easy to lust. That's why I know some people, when they go out and they see maybe women wearing inappropriately because the weather is just so hot, they would either look at their shoes or look at the sky. Now, don't do that when you're crossing a street. You could get hit by a car, right? Or if lust really is a problem, some people couldn't go to the beach and swim there, especially if it's a public beach, right? Some people have to give up maybe watching YouTube, okay? Or some people would just could just only watch movies that is general patronage or parental guidance. Nothing above that. No RR, no TV 14 or whatever, right? Because it's an occasion for lust. Now, that's not easy, right? If a person loves to swim and couldn't go to the beach because there's women there in their bikinis or whatever, right? It's not easy. But desperate people are willing to do desperate things for the Lord. And that's of course, this is not just with regards to lust. This is with regards to other sins that we are really struggling with. Are we desperate enough, right? That's why we need to ask for that grace and really imitate the saints. They were willing to do desperate things. That's why they were able to grow in holiness. They were able to grow in love. I tell you, I know it's a struggle to do these desperate things, but it's really worth it. And because this is what the Lord wants us to do, He will supply us the graces that we need in order to do this.